starting soon. I will also put in for later on, those who are watching this, I'll put down in the description when the actual stream starts. Just getting the last couple things ready. Those who are watching this, I'll put down in the description. What's up, Rational? Hey, Rational, you can jump in on this bad boy if you're by your computer. So let me know if I can call India. All right, let's go. What's going on, YouTube? How you guys doing on this fine Wednesday evening? All right, just give me a shout out, Rational, when you're ready, and I'll ring you up. Yeah, how you guys doing? I wanted to jump on and do another stream tonight. Just talk about a few little articles in the news and go from there. So before I get into that, so some of the things I want to talk about tonight, I want to talk about how old crazy Uncle Bernie says a lot of people in the country would be delighted in paying more taxes. We're going to touch on that. We're going to touch on a backdoor push that the Democrats are doing on some gun violence. We are also going to talk about conservative actor Tim Allen's being accused of being a racist because a bunch of some old stuff got pulled up. Also want to talk about Joe Biden promises to cure cancer if he's elected in 2020. That'd be nice of him if he could do that. And but before we do that, please go to Parler, okay? Please go to parler.com, Parler, and sign up for Parler. It's a cool little app. They got it on the App Store and all that. Kind of like Twitter. It's a free speech dealio. And search me out, SJG Perspective, and please add, follow me on there. Also on minds.com. SJG Perspective on minds.com. Hit me up there. And then BitChute. Follow me on BitChute. And then Twitter and Facebook and Gab. Oh, Gab's another good one. Follow me on Gab too. So those are the ones I'm kind of posting to also right now. Trying to find a good place to land because the YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram are just so annoying. Anyways. All right, let me get this one queued up here. I think it's in the window. There it is. Great. So did that move a little bit there? Okay. So, old Joe Biden said he promises if he's elected El Presidente in 2020 that he is going to cure cancer. Well, that is awful nice of him. Why does he have to be elected president to cure cancer? If he's got a line on how he's going to cure cancer, he's definitely got enough political pull to do it anyways. So he has to be president to cure cancer. The level of pandering and one-upmanship of the Democratic candidates is getting almost amusing, where the next person's going to end cancer, the next one's going to give you all kinds of, it's going to, bring us world peace, and it's going to give you free medical, it's going to give you reparations, going to take away all the guns, going to make it so that we have the popular votes, going to make it so 16-year-olds can vote. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on and on and on. And they're just trying to outdo themselves. And it's kind of funny. What's going on, Disabled Vet? How you doing, man? So in this little article, Joe Biden promises to cure cancer if he's elected in 2020. Let's read this. I haven't read this one. I know it's been all over the news. I haven't read it and covered it yet, so I thought it'd be fun to do it. So we are. Former Vice President and presidential hopeful Joe Biden made a promise on Tuesday to cure cancer if he defeats incumbent President Donald Trump in 2020. I promise you, if I'm elected president, I promise you, this is a promise from Joe Biden, you're going to see the single most important thing that changes America. We're gonna cure cancer, announced Biden during a campaign speech in Ottawa, Iowa. Ottumwa, Iowa, something like that. That's a good question, Gator. Gator's in the house, man. We haven't had Gator around for a while. Gator, so glad to see you, man. Thought maybe you died or something. Glad you're back. Yeah, so if he can cure cancer, exactly. If he can cure cancer, why wouldn't he just do it? If he's got a line on curing cancer, why has he got to be president to do that? That seems a little bit shady. It's a joke, because if he could cure cancer, I would think he would, right? And if nothing else, he would monetize that shiznit, right? And he would figure out how to start a company. He's got plenty of money, and he would cure cancer. He'd be a hero and a bajillionaire. On Wednesday's radio program, Glenn Beck, Pat Gray, and Stu, we'll just call him Stu, reacted to Biden's audacious campaign promise and discussed the Democratic frontrunner's chances against President Trump in a hypothetical general election. If he gets elected, Joe Biden said, we're going to cure cancer. That's going to be the big takeaway of his presidency, Stu said. We used to do that as a joke. Remember when we would run fake candidates like Ernie Velveeta and Harold Flamblasky, and they would all promise to cure cancer. Now Joe Biden is really doing it. Glenn said that then candidate Trump's campaign promise to build the wall is pretty simple compared to curing cancer. Joe Biden is going to cure cancer. He's already cured it. Really? You just have to elect him before he'll tell you how he's going to cure it, he joked. Watch this clip to hear the guys have a little fun with Joe Biden's lofty promise. So I thought that was a cold read, so I thought that was going to be a little more. But can we that is just silliness, just plain silliness. And are people just seriously do they believe him when he says that? Does that really tug on their heartstrings? And do they actually think Joe Biden, plagiaristic Joe Biden, right? Creepy Joe is actually going to be able to cure cancer? That is pretty damn funny, pretty damn hilarious, if you ask me. That's just my simpleton opinion on that. And I can't believe people are actually buying it. Nick's in the house too. What's up, Nick? Biden can cure your cancer easy. Just drink this Kool-Aid. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's kind of funny. I think this would be a good opportunity to go to the Wheel of Truth. I'm going to be integrating my Wheel of Truth in certain situations for the hell of it. So we are going to go try the Wheel of Truth and find out if he's telling the truth. Here we go. I did change some of the categories. Uh-oh. Maybe. The Wheel of Truth said he maybe will cure cancer. Okay, let's try this again, because I don't think we'll give the wheel 2 out of 3. Okay, here we go again. Can he cure cancer? Is Joe going to cure it? Maybe again. I guess we need to go best out of 7. Oh man, this is not good. The wheel doesn't lie, so maybe he does cure it. Total load of bullshit. Okay, so maybe the total load of bullshit. The total load of bullshit. Maybe that does it, but we do have to go. So we've got 2 for cure cancer, 1 of total bullshit. We can just say bullshit. Come on, this is like the NBA playoffs right now. Likely. Oh crap. So we're 3-1 right now. We're 3-1. This does not look good. This does not look good. No one's ever came back from a 3-1 deficit. Okay, so we're 2-3 right now. We're 2-3. This could be historic. We're 2-3. Uh-oh. Okay, we're tied up. The series is tied up. We got 3-3. It all comes down to this spin, folks. If Joe Biden is going to cure cancer. Oh no, he likely will. I think the wheel is sick. The wheel does not know what it's talking about. That might have just disproved the likelihood of the truth of the wheel. So anyways, all right, here. I'm taking a call for a second. I am going to, don't go anywhere, guys. I'm going to switch over to some music while I get Rational up on the line. Hold tight. Coming right back at you guys. Don't go anywhere. All right, here we go. Ringing him, as you guys likely can hear. You on, dude?
Yep, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Okay, cool. So let me switch back over. I don't know if well, it doesn't really matter with you anyways. Where am I at here? Okay. Okay, there we go. So, talk.
Yeah, how's it going, mate?
All right, cool. You're on, bro. And everybody can hear him in the
Sounds all
chat there? All right, sweet. Everybody can hear Rational in the chat? Yes, no, it'll take a minute for them to go. How you doing, man?
Oh, yeah, not too bad.
Good.
Just working on a few new parodies and wondering whether in this current day of extreme censorship, whether I should be putting them online or not.
No, you know what? Can you turn up the volume for Rational? I can turn up the volume for Rational, I think. Hang on a second here. Do I have a volume on here too? Or no, is that just a... let me do this. Can you turn up your volume a little bit, Rational, so I don't have to turn up the whole desktop volume?
I don't know if I can.
There you go. Where were you? Did you end the call? Or are you still with us?
No, I'm still here.
Okay, good. Yeah, you went up a little bit. Turn it up a little more.
I've moved closer to the mic.
Oh, okay, here. I'll just bring you up. I'll turn it down if we do. Okay, talk now.
Yeah, how's it going? So I don't know whether this is louder or not. I'm not very good with the computer system here, so.
Yeah, no, I think you're better now.
Cool.
Okay, is that good? That wheel is defective. Yeah, I think so. I think the wheel is probably defective. I think I'm too loud now, though. I need to bring my happy ass down a little bit. How's it sound out there in the YouTube world? Give us a little feedback, shout back. Then we're going to get into some articles here. So what do you all want to talk about while we wait? Oh, disabled vet. Disabled vet, we're back, man. There's a little bit of a delay, but so we're back. Okay, so let me go back into here. So thanks for jumping on last minute with me, dude.
Yeah, no problem, mate.
Yeah, man. So what time is it over there in Aussie land?
It is about 3:30, I think, somewhere around there.
In the afternoon?
Yeah, afternoon, yeah.
How's the next day treating us already?
Yeah, pretty good. Yep.
Okay, so
how's yesterday?
So you can see, are you watching you can listen and see when I pull this up, probably you're still probably watching the stream. Or can you see my camera? You can't see, do you see me coming through?
No, you're not there. There's just a blank screen. You're normally there, but
I normally am. The reason it isn't is because I'm using this different software and I haven't set up the NDI on it yet. So
right.
we'll just converse. So okay, let's go over to this article. So that says that I'm reading it. You can look on the YouTube Rash just to see what it is. It says Dems push back door control bill that could easily that could destroy the firearm industry. So this isn't the first time they're doing this, but they're doing it again. They're pushing basically so that people can sue the gun manufacturers. So if you sue the gun manufacturers, it's kind of a soft ban, if you will, because then, people that feel that a gun was to blame and the gun manufacturer was to blame for people that get shot and killed by them, they can go after the gun manufacturers. So it's a backdoor way Democrats are trying to do this. So the article says, Democrats in Congress introduced a legislation Tuesday that would seek to repeal legal protections for firearm manufacturers, opening the door for shooting victims to sue companies that create firearms. Now, they touch on this later on in the article, but I got to touch on it now. This is the most ridiculous thing in the world that I can think of. It's like, basically, what about drunk drivers that get behind the wheel of a car? Does that mean people can sue Ford or Chevy or, Volvo or whatever? What kind of cars they drive over there in Aussie land? Do you guys have any of the real cars, or do you just have what kind of cars do you have there?
Yeah, we have pretty much everything here. It's a global market now. So apart from those huge, big, you don't call them a ute. What do you call those big ass truck things that people drive around in over there?
Semis, or are you talking about just regular old trucks?
Yeah, that's what you probably call them a truck. We call them a ute, a utility. The car, they have like 2 seats in the front, and then they have like a tray at the back.
A tray
You
or a
know,
bed, like a truck bed.
yeah.
A tray.
Okay, yeah, we've
A
got to
tray
figure
is
this
something.
language out, man.
A tray is something we serve cheese on. Rational. That's like in a dinner party is a tray. We real men over here in the West call them a truck bed. Shoot, dang man, we don't. Hey, can you throw the lumber on my tray? I got a tray. Can you throw some lumber on there for me? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
You guys.
We both speak English and we can't understand each other.
Oh, that's funny. It says the bill titled the Equal Access to Justice for Victims of Gun Violence Act. Man, they make those titles so stupid. Seeks to repeal the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, a 2005 law that immunizes the firearm industry from civil liberties, from civil liabilities in both the state and federal courts. The bill would allow civil cases to go forward against irresponsible actors in the state and federal courts, just as they would if they involved any other product. Letting courts hear these cases would provide victims of gun violence their day in court, reads a press release about the bill. The bill is sponsored by Adam Schiff, of course, who else would it be sponsored by, in the House, and Richard Blumenthal in the Senate. Man, those are two dudes that are just so annoying. The lawmakers claim numerous cases have been dismissed on the basis of the PLCAA, even when the gun makers and sellers acted in a fashion that would qualify as negligent if it involved any other product. Well, how does a gun manufacturer, how are they negligent in their marketing or negligent in, in the selling? It says the guns, that would be in any other. I don't understand that. Like, I guess they use some categories down here. Speaking to our reporters on Capitol Hill, Schiff said Tuesday that the responsible actors in the gun industry don't need this limitation on liability. Blumenthal added, all we're doing through this proposal is giving victims of gun violence their day in court. No, that's not all we're doing on this. What we're doing on this is we're trying a soft gun ban. You can jump in anytime, Rash, too, if you have a question or a thought.
Yep.
It says every other industry has to pay punitive damages if it intentionally and purposefully violates a standard of care, he claimed. That will provide a powerful incentive as it is done with tobacco. Okay, so they're saying with tobacco. Tobacco is a whole different thing. Tobacco in and of itself, by itself, when you are inhaling it, when that can give you cancer, right? Automobiles, I think there's a totally inanimate object, as is tobacco, but automobiles are only going to hurt people when they're used. But really, no, automobiles actually, there's been cases where automobiles autonomously, the throttles have stuck, right? And the people just go blasting down the road and hurt themselves or get in a wreck, or, poor design of a vehicle, and the gas tanks in the back, and they get rear-ended, and boom, the car blows up into flames, right? So that is actually, I could see where you could go after an automobile, but or pharmaceutical drugs, right? Pharmaceutical drugs, they can market those as being safe, and with their plethora of quickly read or in fine print the details of how it's going to give you anal bleeding, and you're going to have the possibility of death, and so on and so forth. But a gun is such an inanimate object. A gun has never in the history of guns killed anybody by itself. An automobile would be like I said, an automobile would be a great example of how automobiles in and of themselves, by themselves, have killed people. Guns have never, ever in the history of anything killed someone without input from the operator. Does that make sense? Is that a good point, or am I simplifying that too much? Go.
No, I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
The only thing that I could see, or the only situation I could see where you could legitimately sue a gun manufacturer for a gun killing somebody is if the person firing the gun is killed because the gun is faulty and it blows up when they try to shoot it. But outside of that, I really can't see how, with the US Second Amendment, your right to bear arms,
Right.
that there is any way that you could sue or hold a gun manufacturer liable for the actions of the person who buys the gun.
Right.
Except maybe in a case where they knowingly sell it to a criminal, but that wouldn't be the manufacturer that's selling, though. That would be retailers, wouldn't it? So
yes.
I really can't see how this is
unless you're the federal government and you like in the case of the Fast and the Furious, right? Well, that
Yeah, yes.
that doesn't even apply. But like, that doesn't apply. But our government, Obama, sold guns to the cartels, and then lost them, and those guns were used to. But that would be, again, that would be against the federal government. But Nick brought up a good point too. Like if the gun blows up in your hands because it was a faulty design, then yeah, you should be able to sue the manufacturer for that, obviously, because there was a defect in the gun, and when you shot it, it blew up, and it hurt you. So okay, sue them. But for them to go after and be able to sue a gun manufacturer because some crazy loon nut grabbed a gun and went out and mowed down a bunch of people with it, that has nothing to do with the gun. That has everything to do with the person that did it. Nothing to do with the gun. This is so blatantly a backdoor attempt at putting such a burden on gun control or on gun manufacturers that just by just by rite of passage or just by default rather, they guns are harder to get, or they start to start to close the gun market in America because they just literally sue these gun makers out of business. It's
You also wonder about the consistency of something like this. Like, you could use a toothpick as a deadly weapon if you jammed it into somebody's eyeball. So, is
yeah,
that are they going to bring in legislation to say that if somebody kills someone with a toothpick, that the toothpick manufacturer can be sued, or for you use a butter knife to stab somebody? I mean, people use knives quite a lot, especially in the UK,
yep,
where knives are the number one murder weapon of choice. So where does it end? Where does this kind of legislation end? It just seems like a really bad attempt to take away your guns. Why are the left so desperate to disarm everybody?
right, right. Well, because they're all about saving lives. That's what they just care about, lives, and these indiscriminate people, crazies that are out shooting people. But they don't push the fact that maybe what they should do is push responsible gun ownership. Maybe they should push tax breaks and some sort of an incentive to get people who are responsible gun owners to take training and to carry their guns more. Maybe they should remove gun safe zones where people can take their guns, because good people, I've said this a million times and I will continue to say it, good people don't want to go out and use the gun and kill other people. It's the bad people that want to go kill people. It's only the good guys with a gun. That's why you call cops. That's why you call law enforcement when you are in an emergency situation, because they have guns to stop the bad guys. It's only ever the good guys with the guns that stop the bad guys. And
Yeah, we've actually had a few situations here in Australia recently. Like we've pretty much been disarmed, but funnily enough, criminals commit crimes, and one of the crimes that they commit is illegally obtaining firearms. And so we've had a couple of examples here recently where, there've been people that have been shot by criminals, and of course, there's no one around with a gun to stop them.
right, right,
So I mean, I know it's a cliche, and I've used this line before, but I'm scared of an armed populace, but I'm terrified by an unarmed one.
yeah,
And we're seeing that now. Like our criminal element here in Australia is now starting to bring their guns out into the open, and it's an interesting situation to see how long it's going to be in Australia until people start saying, "Well, hang on a minute. If the criminals have got guns, we need to have guns. We shouldn't be considered a criminal. We're good people. We should be able to have a gun. So if somebody breaks into our home or is just
right.
shooting at us on the street, as has happened a few times now, we have that option to defend ourselves and to shoot back."
Yeah, exactly. No, and that's the other statistic that's never talked about in it's the gun control debate is the defensive uses of guns. How many lives are saved from defensive uses of guns? And it's kind of a hard number to pin down. I mean, it's very clearly 500,000 people a year are saved in the defensive use of a gun, But that number can actually be extrapolated out to a couple million a year are saved in the defensive use of a gun. So they never talk about that number, right? They talk about the 30-ish thousand people a year that die of guns, and out of those, about half of them, I want to say, roughly half are used in suicide, and then there's even justifiable homicides like cops killing people and so on and so forth, which a lot of people could argue none of those are justified, but that's a bunch of shit. Of course they are. So, I mean, you're talking 15,000 people a year, probably closer to 10,000 people a year die with homicides, bad guys with guns. But then that number, they don't break that number out of how much of that is gang violence and people already who aren't allowed to have guns who have guns, right? So it's the numbers are it's so blatantly just a political issue. And you're right. Why are they wanting us so badly to be disarmed? Well, it's because the same people that want us to be disarmed are the ones who are pushing these socialistic, utopiastic, socialistic uh, society, right? Where guns are a bad guns in the public hands are bad in that type of environments because, you know, it's bad when you have an armed populace against a government that's tyrannical, which ultimately is always going to happen when socialism has its way to run rampant. It always ends up being a tyrannical. It's never to this point not been a tyrannical government that is taken over.
Now, well, if you leave out Nazism and fascism out of the left-wing violent government action in the last century, in a 70-year period, socialist and communist governments killed 100 million people.
Right, right.
Right. So that's the product of a left-wing government with a population that it has in its power and under its control. So, yep, there is always a risk if you've got 30 million people in a country that all own guns. There's always a risk of one of them going out and killing a small number of people.
Right.
Whereas on the other hand, if you have nobody with guns except the government, there is a much greater risk of a government slaughtering large-scale, massive numbers of people. And it's not like we haven't got multiple examples of that from our history that we can look at.
Yeah,
governments slaughter people quite often.
Right. No, and
just because they haven't done it in the West for a while doesn't mean they can't do it again. That's the other issue. And when your governments are so desperate to disarm people, you have to ask why. Like the ulterior motivation is something to be considering, I think.
Yeah. No, and you look at like China, what's happening in China and in Hong Kong right now with the protests, and then even what happened in Tiananmen Square back in the 80s, and that everyone, not everyone, there's people that want to praise China for their communist government and how well it's done. See, like they'll point to the fact that, wow, look at China, man, they have made. They're the strongest economy in the world right now, or not the strong, but they're one of the strongest economies. They're pushing us out of our spot for the strongest economy in the world, and people will say that's because of communism. Well, those same people don't want to look at the fact of how authoritarian. Look how authoritarian that country. Who would want to live in that country? When individuals are interviewed on the streets of China to talk about what happened in Tiananmen Square, either they don't know, the younger millennials don't know what happened in Tiananmen Square because it's been so erased from history, or if they do know, they're scared shitless to talk about it because they'll be put on a list, they will be rounded up, they will be persecuted by their government for even talking about what happened in Tiananmen Square, right? I mean, go ahead.
They have that social credit score now.
Yeah,
so
right.
if you do anything that the government doesn't like, then that will instantly negatively impact your social credit score. And that means that it stops you from being able to travel in certain areas at certain times. You don't have access to your full bank account. You don't have access to public transport. You can be stopped from buying and selling, that kind of thing. I mean, that is the left's wet dream.
If it gets bad enough, you can be jailed.
Well, you're probably better off being in. Well, no, actually, I was going to say you'd be better off being in jail than being out on the street with no food. But a Chinese jail, no, I think I'd just take the risk of trying to catch rats to eat rather than being in a Chinese jail. I don't think that'd be very good places to be.
Yeah, exactly. They don't exactly treat their. It's not like Club Med here, Club Fed when you go to prison here. Not that there's not bad prisons here, and our prison reform system, our prison system definitely needs reform. But no, yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty insane what China. And then this is the other thing too. These same people who want to preach about how great China is, right? They're the same ones here that are saying how we need tolerance and how we need to let anybody in who wants to be in here, and how they're very much along the social justice, identitarian politics persuasion, right? But they don't seem to think about, I guess, or look at the fact that Well, when you look at China, right, and you look at how they run their society and their culture, it's very homogenous. They have a very very tight rate on immigration. They obviously there's no guns. They monitor thought. They are like we were just talking about the social credit score, incredibly authoritarian on the thought policing. And I guess to some of these people, they think that sounds good, with the exception of you want to talk about a nationalistic state. You want to talk about nationalistic identity that you think is so terrible about the West and how we are trying to hold on to that. Well, let me tell you what, the Far East, China is all about nationalism and, a homogenistic or homogenous society and culture.
Yes,
There is no diversity there.
no, it's another one of the many ironies of the left. They call us Nazis because we support freedom and minimal government interference in things like the economy and society. And they laud China as a great example of a state
Right.
when it is nationalist and socialist, and National Socialist is generally considered to be Nazi.
Right.
It's that the unbelievable cognitive dissonance of our friends on the left, that they can laud a National Socialist political structure while at the same time calling all of us National Socialists or Nazis.
Right.
When we don't support socialism, and we don't support big government interfering in the running of the state.
Yeah. No.
It's a really, yeah.
It's insane. It really
It
is.
is.
So we'll switch gears here. This will be a cold read. It says conservative actor Tim Allen accused of being a racist after old interview resurfaces. So it says some social media users have branded conservative actor Tim Allen as openly racist after a new interview prompted an old interview to resurface. One interview in question, which was conducted approximately 6 years ago, featured the Last Man Standing actor remarking on the use of the N-word. How on earth did this even happen? It all began after a promotional video for Toy Story 4 emerged, in which journalist Exila Valentine interviewed Allen and co-star Tom Hanks and quizzed them on their knowledge of black culture. Valentine shared a snippet of an interview and captioned it, "Tom Hanks is so cool, I tested his knowledge of black culture." He didn't mention Allen in the caption at all. In the video, Valentine asked the actors how they would play a card game called Spades. During the exchange, Valentine and Hanks dismissed Spade's strategy, and Allen interjected that he had no idea what they were even talking about. "I don't know what you guys are talking about," Allen said. "I don't have any idea what you guys just said." Hanks responded to Allen, "You don't know how to play spades?" To which Allen replied, "I'm going to pretend I do because I want to move on now." Some social media users watched the clip and went on to that interview clip was more evidence that Allen's is racist. One user whose tweet received a lot of attention wrote, "Tim Allen is openly racist now, and I love seeing him squirm here." The user's remark prompted a conversation which forced the user to respond. He later wrote, "Normally I try not to call y'all stupid, but the number of people here who think I'm calling Allen racist because of this video is truly alarming. America really got to work on teaching reading comprehension." After the clip went viral, social media users went on to point out in 2013 interview in which Allen discussed using the N-word in comedy and as a man who believes he is clearly not a racist. So here's the point here. He said, comedian actor Tim Allen is in the spot comedian actor Tim Allen is in a spot of bother this week, especially for telling the Tampa Bay Times that he should be able to say the N-word as much as he likes. If I have no intent, if I show no intent, if I clearly am not a racist, then how can the N-word be bad coming out of my mouth? Asked Allen. The comic who claimed to use the word regularly in his stand-up added that the phrase "the N-word" is worse to me than the N-word. African American commentary politely but firmly disagreed. "Here's a general rule of thumb to follow when using the N-word for white people," said sociologist, author, and host of something, blah, blah, blah. So they are digging into old Tim Allen's history that hard to try to say he's a racist because he's a conservative. They go after all the conservatives because that is what it's all about. It's all about, if you're a conservative, especially a conservative in Hollywood, then you are for sure a racist. You know what I mean? What are your thoughts on that, man?
uh, the this meme about people like us, people who are sort of in that libertarian conservative vogue being racist is one that I kind of get tired of really, really quickly. I've had
Yeah.
quite a lot of people over a prolonged period of time now, especially online, where it seems to be at fever pitch, accusing me of being racist for all kinds of weird and wonderful things.
Right.
And the reality of it is that race is not on our agenda. It's not part of our social consciousness. And I can't imagine, I don't know Tim Allen. I'm not going to vouch for the guy, but I can't imagine that he would be. And I haven't seen anything from him that indicates that he is. And I haven't seen anything from him that indicates that he is. So I'm not sure why you'd say that, because he didn't understand the rules of a game, that makes him racist. But, the reality is the left, again, that they will find what they want to find, and they find racism everywhere, don't they?
Yeah.
So just if you completely ignore race, you're a racist. If you acknowledge race, you're a racist. You can't win,
Yeah.
So it's what they do. They don't have an argument, so they just go to personal attack.
Yeah.
That's the only option that they have.
No, and that truly is honestly what it is about. It's just takedown. It's just like this whole adpocalypse and the takedown of conservatives. It's just an all-out assault on conservative voices because, like you said, there isn't a really great. There's a lot of common sense coming out of what conservatives are saying, and so the best way to take them down is just to, if you don't agree 100% with this far left ideology, then we're just going to attack you for being a racist scum because that's the best way to handle it. That's the best way to handle the argument.
It's an unbelievable thing that it works. Like that form of argument, the ad hominem argument, has been known as being an invalid form of argument for 2,300 years.
Right.
And yet it is the only argument that the left seem to have. And they call themselves progressive. I mean, 2,300 years ago, with your philosophical reasoning, is not what I would call progressive. That's kind of the exact opposite of progressive.
Yeah.
They're not even in the common era with their mode of argumentation.
Right. Well, I think what we need to do here, and I got to wrap it up pretty quick. I know I keep saying this, guys. I promise I'm going to start giving them better alerts and not starting my streams at 10:30 at night because I want to have a little bit better stream content and schedule going on. It's just been so tough with my, being the family life and the work life. Getting the time to do this is tough. But before we go, I think what it would be the best thing to do here is to find out from the wheel once and for all if Tim Allen is a racist. Okay. So I'm really hoping the wheel doesn't let me down on this one. Right. So let's all give our mojo to the wheel. We're going to spin the wheel and see if Tim Allen is a racist. Here we go. Come on. Go white. No doubt. No doubt he isn't a racist. I think that's what the wheel meant. Should we try it one more time? It gave me no doubt.
This wheel's not working, dude.
This wheel is freaking broken. I have to adjust it later. Let's try it one more time. This one will be... Maybe. I have really got to adjust this wheel. Someone told me that I should take, that I shouldn't have it all just... But I got to try it again. This wheel is broken, man. I'm sorry about the brokenness of this wheel. I think this one's it right there. Utter bullshit. That's the one I'm going for right there. This is utter bullshit.
It was clearly made by an SJW, that wheel.
I know. The wheel needs to be oiled or something because that's not proper at all. Anyways, hey guys, I do have Rational. Thanks for jumping on. I will follow up with you tomorrow because I'd like to get another stream earlier on. And are you going to be on Saturday with Drone Tech?
I'm not sure. I haven't spoken to him yet, so
okay.
I'll find out.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got a lot of people want to jump on there, so we'll find out who's going to be on. But yeah, so everybody who's watching, all 6 of you, we will Saturday be on with Drone Tech. It's Wednesday, so I'm going to do another video or stream before Saturday. And I'm going to do one earlier in the night. But please, Parler.com. Hey, by the way, Rational, if you haven't downloaded Parler yet, you should. You should go down and download Parler. But Parler, Parler.
L-E-E-R. Yeah.
P-A-R.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I haven't actually got on it yet. But
yeah.
Yes, I will. I'll check that one out.
Check it out. So Parler, download it, guys, and then go to SJG Perspective. Follow me there. Minds.com. If you haven't already, go to Minds and follow me there. BitChute and Gab. And then obviously Facebook, Twitter, and all that other. But those are, to me, I'm less and less. YouTube, obviously, it's the only good streaming service now, so we're still here. But with everything going on, man, they're really cracking down. So, and my channel will probably be one once it gets any kind of, visibility. They won't like what I say. But
No, I expect to get taken down at some point.
Yeah.
For doing the parodies, like you're living in a high risk
Yeah.
area. Like the last couple of parodies that I've done about transgenderism.
Yeah.
I just thinking, is it worth putting them online? Like, you're going to get kicked off probably at some point, but
Yeah.
I don't really want to go and sort of start flicking the YouTube bosses on the testicles just to see if they react.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know. I've been doing that to Facebook just because I don't use Facebook anymore. But I've been I was posting honk the other day just to piss them off because apparently that's against their community guidelines and everything. So
that's absurd, isn't it?
It is. It's so crazy. Yeah. But I'm gonna let you guys go now, and Rational, I'll catch up with you tomorrow or even later on Discord. But I'm gonna hit the hay here. I got to get up early and go do the day job. But everybody, and I got to say this because you've ruined my tagline, Rational, because now every time you're on, I feel obliged to have to say, thank you for watching SJG Perspective without fear of animals and or without fear or animus. He turned that into something it wasn't. I appreciate you guys. And we'll talk to you soon. I'm going to head out now, yeah, like the stream, share it out, and make sure you follow me on some of the other sites. So, all right, Rational, I'll catch you later, brother.
No worries, mate. Catch you. And see you later, guys.
All right, guys. See you. Go check out Rational's channel and subscribe if you guys haven't already. And we will talk to you guys later. All right, out.